Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of the Running Mech, a Lancer battle report series where I put the players against the NPC. In this episode though, we are going to have a bigger focus on sitrep. Before I start anything first, I would like to thank Salsa, Cyanic, and Sad, with Akirio once again joining us for this mission. So, sitrep, it's basically a scene with an objective in mind. Escort, Control, Extraction, Holdout, Gauntlet, and Recon. These 6 sitreps are available in the core rulebook. Also, this series actually has Holdout sitrep before, but I kinda threw away most of the scoring system and just makes it an all-out brawl anyway. In this episode, we will be having Escort. Escort involves the player characters escorting an object, in this case the Mirror Smoke Armored Personnel Carrier, which has a team of Mirror Team 6 accompanied by members of Mirror Smoke Legal to resolve the case in court, which is of course on the other side of the map. The objective however, won't move by itself, instead a player has to start their turn right besides it, and then the objective will follow them for their standard move. And if there's opposing force around it, it obviously won't move. We will be using Hex once again, this time actually figuring out how Hex works on roll 20, this mission will also be another one-shot at license level 6, which means the players can go all wild. But to make this difficult, I only set up the NPC composition after the players have set up their builds because last episode makes me feel like I should be a bit more merciless. So, I have set up a couple hidden surprises that the players cannot see at all. I also have the wall here, which is a Goliath Ultra to block all their access to the courthouse. Good fucking luck getting past that. Spoiler, they did. Anyway, let's start off round 1 with Shareholder immediately popping their core power for Death Cloud, which makes any enemy that moves besides their standard move to explode. Maybe showering an entire city in micro-explosive ordnance is a bad idea. They then used Unhinged Chronology to put haste on Oni, making them much faster. They then overcharged to scan the wall. Someone actually used scan, and in the effort to move back from the front line, Shareholder accidentally stepped on a powered down guard assassin, ruining my ambush plan, which to be fair, I shouldn't have put them that close in the first place. Elite Guard Mirage, not dying immediately like its predecessor, tried to hack Stormlight but failed despite the fact that they have the worst E-defense of the entire player team. Then it used Data Veil on the unhidden assassin, making them invisible while making them not. It also moved behind the Goliath, to replace its current lack of defense. Salamander moved next, having the APC following behind them towards Oni to maximize the effectiveness of their bonded talent that both of them have, except they mistaken Oni for Stormlight, and the bonded talent remained completely useless for the entire mission. They then charged up a Stasis Bolt for protection, and Mimic Mesh on Stormlight to follow them if they get hit. Veteran Guard Archer moved up, then was forced to boost because Salamander was not in range, taking some damage from the Death Cloud, then suppressed them, which is actually kinda useless with how thickly armored Salamander is that they can just do the Terminator defense. Oni, intended to flank the main boss, moved, boosted free from haste, used Accelerate to throw themselves even further up the alley, then boosted again and overcharged to hide behind the building. The guard assassin then rammed down Shareholder, and then blasted them with the Devil's Cough shotgun, which deal a ridiculous 15 damage. Holy shit, a shotgun actually works. Except none of this is possible because 1, a smaller character can't ram down Shareholder, and 2, Salamander just threw out a Stasis Bolt which blocked off the shotgun blast just in time. But for now Shareholder is going to be in a lot of pain until the timeline corrected itself. Finally, Sad then, fired the Unraveler at the assassin, which will only do 2 damage no matter what because it is still in full health, and then they invaded the assassin with the Stalk Prey option, which makes it see them as invisible. Then they carried the APC up the alley, with Oni as the vanguard. This however, exposed the 2 players left at the center to a lot of pain as the Elite Guard Mirage hacks Salamander severely with illusory subroutine and warp sensor that makes all enemies they attack having soft cover and invisibility, so they might as well be shooting blind. Then the other guard assassin powered up and tried to ram Salamander 2, but that obviously failed because I'm a dumbass, but the following Devil's Cough blast didn't miss and it hit Salamander hard enough to knock them back and knock down more than half their health because they didn't brace. As for the wall, they just stood there, menacingly. Round 1 ended, and round 2 began with Shareholder getting everything fixed as the timeline corrected itself. Shareholder then started off their turn by throwing a warp grenade at their feet, teleporting the guard assassin next to the other one. This caused the assassin to take some heat from Lesson of the Open Door Core bonus which Shareholder has. They then moved towards the assassin, set up a Mesmer mine, overcharged, and then used Repulsor Field to detonate it, immobilizing the assassins and knock them back, which is actually impossible because even Repulsor Field can't trigger mine that hasn't been activated yet. Also forgot to add heat for the other assassin from Lesson of the Open Door. Seeing the assassins in danger, the elite guard Mirage took back its invisibility, and then teleport both of the assassins out of there, but both of them took damage from Death Cloud in the process. But actually they should have took the damage when Shareholder teleport and knocked them back with Repulsor Field anyway, but since it's once per round, it kinda worked out. Salamander popped its core power for Hyper Reflex mode, then charged up another Stasis Bolt, seeing as it's pretty useful, then dashed forward with Skirmisher 2 before firing, intentionally asking to bait a reaction from the Archer even if Skirmisher 2 doesn't provoke reaction. Archer fired upon it for the suppression, missed, and despite the massive reliable damage, it doesn't matter against 3 armor. They then fired up their through-bolted flamethrower at the Archer, which missed because of all the debuff the Mirage put on them prior. What they didn't miss was the Spectre that was powered down in the trees, which was now on fire. After seeing that there are 2 targets in the trees, Salamander overcharged to fire up their flamethrower again, torching up Archer and all the trees in the neighborhood. Man, there's so much collateral damage going on here. They then moved back with Skirmisher 2 again, along with the standard move. The veteran guard Archer moved next, firing its machine gun at Shareholder, which hit despite Stasis Bolt from Salamander, who barely managed to avoid getting blind by Archer's blinding shells. Then it suppressed Salamander again, because that's what Archer do, being annoying. Also it barely passed the engineering check to put out the flame. Stormlight kept moving towards the courthouse, using accelerate spots left by Oni to move even further with the APC following behind them, which probably made for some rather rough trip. Some people, however, said that this might not work because accelerate forces involuntary movement to whoever that steps in its effect radius only, so the APC couldn't follow them in. Personally speaking, I think this works, because it's hilarious as all hell. Then they invaded the wall, actually successfully hitting it, and gave it the stock prey effect to make it see Stormlight as invisible, and then hide just for more protection. Seeing it's about to shut down, Guard Spectre charged forward, Death Cloud detonating around it as it's gunning for Shareholder, cutting them deep with 2 strikes, and with its hunt trait which deals even more damage if the target is alone, instantly structuring Shareholder right through, destroying their Unraveler. However, this costs the Guard Spectre gravely, because it failed the engineering check and burned down. What a great first impression of this NPC. While the enemy NPC are distracted by what's going on in the middle, Oni immediately charged towards the Elite Mirage and the wall with its move, Free Haste Boost, Accelerate, and Skirmisher 2 for the attack on Mirage, which missed due to invisibility. Then moved again with Hunter 1 by using an auxiliary knife against the wall, overcharged, and then activated Swarm Body to carve up both Mirage and the wall every round. This is a very well thought out and well planned turn, which got entirely defeated because the wall just shot them twice with its shotgun and then punched them to the next week, but not before taking a very tiny amount of damage from Swarm Body and Scouring Swarm. Don't stand too close to Baylor, folks. Also, since Oni actually took damage, the haste effect got punched to the next week too. Both of the guard assassin, with them being immobilized, just tried to invade and lock onto both Salamander and Shareholder. Both invades failed because, of course. Elite Guard Mirage then teleport both of the assassins out of there, and then hacked Oni, which caused them to overheat and become exposed, which is obviously very bad. The wall tried to hack Oni too. The wall then continued to be the wall. The other Guard Spectre then powered up, sprinting towards Salamander as Death Cloud exploded around it, who tried to torch it with Vanguard 3 but missed, and received 2 devastating slashes from the Spectre even after trying to put distance with Skirmisher 2, structuring them and destroying their shotgun and light nexus. Man, this is reminding me of episode 1 so much. Also, Salamander forgot about custom paint job, which might have saved them, which honestly is kinda the most useless system in Lancer because everyone kept forgetting they have it, and it's like, why even fucking bother having. Round 2 finally ended, and round 3 began. Stormlight quickly popped their core for stabilized singularity so they could teleport everywhere, because it turned out that since the escort objective will follow anyone for standard move, then it probably won't matter if they are also teleporting or flying. This obviously doesn't work because at the same time, the core rulebook doesn't said the escort objective could spontaneously teleport or fly, just following the standard move of a player, but it's fucking hilarious, so I'm allowing it for this mission. Stormlight then went through the accelerate spots and teleport into the courthouse with the APC. And that's mission complete. Yes, the mission is completed in 3 rounds. Let's talk about the mission.
Get out of here, stalker.
So, here's the thing about sitrep like escort, it is done as soon as the players achieve the objective, no matter how many enemies are left on the field, thus it is better for the players to focus on the objective hard in a sitrep, and that's what happened here. Despite 2 of the players getting trashed in the process, this is the perfect play because while those 2 distracted the majority of the NPC, the other 2 carried the objective all the way to the end location. Salamander, as a defender, attracted a ton of firepower from the NPC, which means they did their job perfectly well, and also dealt the top damage in the team, earning the first and only kill in the entire session. Shareholder meanwhile enabled Oni to flank the enemy as fast as they can and also prevented a far amount of damage capability from the enemy, like the 2 guard assassins with a mesmer mine. As for the 2 on the flank, I think they actually made a tactical mistake here, because had they stuck around, the entire team could still gather up and push through the enemy team as a whole. But at the same time, that would have made the mission last longer. So despite Oni and Stormlight going for a flanking route being a tactical mistake, it was where I ended up making 1-2 as well, and that ended up costing the entire session as it turned the mistake into a winning move. But what if I don't allow the escort objective to be able to teleport? Let's talk about the NPC. So, the wall is an ultra-class Goliath, whose purpose is basically to block the only entrance to the courthouse. I even intentionally played it methodically, as it will absolutely refuse to move away from the entrance like a goddamn unmovable mountain, but there's actually a lot of tricks to bypass that. In just this team alone, Oni could just grapple and push the wall out of the way with synthetic muscle netting. Accelerate doesn't work in this case because it pushes the target, an involuntary movement, which the wall could prevent with its heavy frame trait unless Oni is as large as they are with Fomaran frame.
Let them fight.
But you can use Accelerate to kick the objective into the extraction zone like a soccer ball. Shareholder could instead use blink charges to teleport the wall out, and maybe also use mesmer charges to stop it from moving back to the entrance. Honestly, Sunzu license kinda just breaks escort and extraction sitrep with how ridiculously mobile they are. Stormlight and Salamander can't move the wall on their own however, so they would have to deal with everything else to keep them off Shareholder and Oni. Basically, I set up the wall not as a boss to fight, but as an obstacle to bypass, since the fastest way to win the session is just complete the objective. As for the rest of the NPC, the Elite Guard Mirage is quite possibly the second most dangerous NPC in the entire group, not just because it's an elite, but it has, numerous times, ceased the players' attempts to fight other NPC by either hacking them or moving the NPC around. Honestly, as soon as it stops being invisible, the player should have just bull rushed it because it's so goddamn effective. The veteran guard archer, ironically, isn't doing much in controlling the battlefield because against thick armor, they are not as scary as one thought. For the standard, the guard assassins dealt so much damage at first but they kind of floundered afterward, which sounds about right for the assassins. Meanwhile, the guard specters are the third most dangerous NPC in the session, making an amazing first impression by structuring 2 players in 1 turn. Honestly, it could be condensed to this.
We call this a difficulty tree.
But all this could only be possible because the players got scattered around. If they stick together, the Spectre won't be as effective, and in fact would die immediately if Shareholder just spend a turn doing nothing but fire the gravity gun and throw grenade, because both ignores its primary defense, invisibility. There's also 2 guard rainmakers that should have come out as a part of the reinforcement, but the session ended too quick for them to be relevant. Anyway, here's the individual damage report for each of the players, a lot less pristine than episode 5. Like the core rulebook said, sitrep is a way to add depth to a mission by adding more objective than just kill everything, and it works very well when tying it with a story. But, maybe your players are a bit more bloodthirsty than usual, in which case just give them the more combat-oriented sitrep for the rest of the mission. This is after all a one-shot series made to demonstrate the game to you guys. A mission don't end in a single session. Anyway, that's about it for everything in this episode. Once again, I would like to thank all the players for participating in the session, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.